Hey, good morning, fellas. It's the 3rd of June. Couldn't sleep. Out here walking again on my way to Bear Ridge. Started out at my street. Anyways, I think I've been fighting. I was fighting all night long with that stupid lady from the VA. God, people don't give a shit. And I think that's probably, it'll be me ranting and walking will probably be the title of this. There's a podcast I watch occasionally called the All In Podcast. It's got 4, I think they're all billionaires on there, at least millionaires. And whenever they talk about artificial intelligence, they never talk about universal basic income. Because as billionaires, as most people are, they don't have to give a shit about the rest of the people trying to get by out there. It is more difficult now for people to get by than it was when I was young. And that is insane to me. So many people make their bones and then they pull the ladder up after them. And they look down and they know people are starving. They know people can't afford to rent a nice apartment in a nice area, eat proper food, take care of their children. And they get rewarded for being assholes, like those 4 guys on the All In Podcast. I guess one of them's name is Chamath. One guy's the director now of cryptocurrency. I believe he's an attorney. Stacks. There's a guy called Friedman. He's their guru for science and technology. And you have the little guy, Tiny Man, who's the moderator. Can never remember his name. His head is round like an apple. Anyways. But they don't give a shit. They don't even understand what it's like. They don't know what a gallon of milk costs. And because they don't care. I got mine is their motto. They don't. And they just sit there. All they're doing is any kind of thing in the markets that they can take advantage of. They do because they have the advantage of money. It's like the carpenter or the mechanic who worked his whole life with his arms above his head and now his shoulders are shot and his back is shot, or the carpenters or the concrete guys, Jesus Christ, the brick guys, their back shot, welders, their eyes go out. All they do is, well, sucks to be you. They don't give a shit. As a matter of fact, they're rewarded for not giving a shit. It doesn't. AI is going to replace a lot of jobs, a lot of office jobs, not blue collar worker jobs yet, until they get the robots in there. And you're still going to have maintenance crews. In the meantime, there's no safety net for those people. And they're in such a rush to dominate with artificial intelligence that they're going to leave, I'd say, at least 1 billion people behind. And they don't fucking care. Because they don't have to care. Nobody makes them care. It's like talking to that lady from the VA, Miss Peters, Carol, who kept saying, "Oh, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service." Just want to go, fuck you. I don't know. Venting, ranting, and walking. Hey, you know what? What's going to happen when 1 million people of all ages get together and go, we've had enough? What are they going to do? And you know who's caught in the middle? The firefighters, emergency response people, the police officers. They're just trying to do their job that they're assigned. If they get hurt on the job, they get a pension. When I got hurt on the job in the military, they gave me a pension. Now, in order to get my wife an ID card so she could use the commissary, because you don't pay tax on your food in the commissary, or you don't pay as much of a tax as you do off base. One of the things you have to do is enroll in a system called DEERS, D-E-E-R-S. I don't know, it's an acronym that means something. And that's how you get an ID card for your wife. That was the sole reason Miss Peters told me my wife isn't going to be awarded Chapter 35 benefits, which are the greater benefit for her. Are you all right? Okay. That little bird was anyway. Didn't know if it was okay. Anyway, I've been fighting for my wife to get her benefits since 2017. And the only reason the VA contacted me is because I emailed the president, and the president actually tried to help me. They don't give a shit about my wife if she gets the proper medical care. I'm doing that not only to help her, but somewhat of a selfish reason, so she'll be able to take care of me when my dumb big ass gets old. But they make you fight tooth and nail for everything. I was awarded my benefits from the Veterans Administration, permanent and total, and retroactive all the way back till I filed my claim in 2012. I was awarded those benefits in 2020. That's how many times I had to fight. So what happens in the VA is that, and I know because I worked at the Board of Veterans Appeals, where they overturned 6 out of every 10 decisions. I think it was more like 7 when I was there, for bad examinations, not using a goniometer to measure range of motion. I mean, it's such a shitty system, and people don't care that are inside the system at all. They just make it torturous for a veteran to go through the system. Now, there are people who breeze through the system. If you've got a chest full of medals, which I had a chest full of medals, this is we're at Bear Ridge. You have a chest full of medals and you're somehow on TV, or you're the son of a senator or a congressperson or a mayor of a city or something, like, of course your claim's going to go through. Of course it's going to be approved the first time. The rest of us, you get all your paperwork together, you submit your documentation to the VA, and then they go through it. And then it eventually lands on a raider's desk, which I was a raider at the Appeals Management Center. And the raider will deny it. Why did they deny it? They just come up with because it's easier in the VA to write a denial than it is to write a grant. And that's the dirty little secret inside the VA. And depending on your GS level is how many fucking cases you have to get done every day. So I think it's a guy running towards me. Might be a girl. I'm not sure. I think it's a person. It's definitely a person. I guess I'm supposed to get out of the way. Okay, I'll get out of the way. Morning. So, it lands on the raider's desk, and they got to get it off their desk. They have a quota to fill. And as you go up in GS level, they add more cases to your pile. And then there were mandatory Saturdays. So, the raiders are unhappy. So what's easier for that raider take it out on the veteran. The case would go up. Then, as you appeal it, goes to a decision review officer, which is just actually a smart rater. Some of them are actually really good, but 99% of them aren't veterans. They like to consider themselves the smartest person in the room. And then they deny the case to get it off of their desk. So then it's boxed up from the regional office and sent to the Board of Veterans Appeals in Washington, D.C., where it's going to be 3 to maybe 10 years till your appeal is heard. Now, they'll lie and tell you, oh, it'll be maybe 3 years, 18 months. That's a fucking utter lie. I know when I worked at the Board of Veterans Appeals for the Disabled American Veterans as a National Appeal Officer, they had thousands and thousands of cases stuck down in closets in the basement. Thousands of them. Decades old. Oldest cases. And they didn't have a system. And as a National Appeals Officer, you have a certain quota of cases you have to do. That's why I left the fucking DAV. It's never enough. And the people that make the decisions don't do the work. The leadership in the DAV, boy, they're a bunch of fucking dickheads. In fact, now I think their guy of the year, his name is Daniel Contreras. He was my supervisor in LA. What a fucking dipshit. Never rated a case in his life. And now I guess he's like the national commander for the DAV. But sooner or later, and if you had an advocate like me, and you called me, and you made sense, I'd go find your case. I would do your case. I'd work your case. And I'd get it granted. That's how I got the guy granted back to 1947. He was in my DAV chapter in Oregon, in Portland, Oregon. Good guy. He made these little bolo ties. They sit around here. He was ecstatic. He went from being not service-connected to service-connected back to 1947, and that was back in like, I don't know, 2000 something. So finally your case gets to the Board of Veterans Appeals, and a judge, an actual veterans law judge, gets a hold of the case. About 80% of those cases are what's called remanded. Remanded because an advocate like me would say, hey, they didn't, when you do a range of motion examination, you have to list in the comments sections that you use a goniometer to measure the degrees that the person either lost mobility by. And because they're lazy fucking doctors that can't be fired at the VA, they don't use the goniometer, and it's an automatic remand. That adds another 14 to 24 months onto the case till it goes back to the judge. You would have cases that were granted in writing from a judge coming from the Board of Veterans Appeals that would land on some dickhead raider in the VA, and he'd deny it, turn around and find a reason to deny it. That's countermanding a judge's order. A legit order. It was unbelievable. There were raiders, decision review officers. They didn't know what a road march was. They didn't know about PT. They didn't know about anything about the military. And they're fucking raiding cases. Anyways, it's like UBI. Billions of people are going to be out of work because of AI. Accountants, some attorney functions, paralegals, any of the legwork that people have to do will be done by a computer, AI computer. They won't need those people. It's why you have a lot of accounting firms send all of their work over to India. There's no unions over there. They do as good, if not better job. And soon they won't need them. In the meantime, while they're dumping billions and trillions of money into AI, no one gives a shit about UBI. What about all these people? Are there going to be some people that take advantage of UBI? Of course there are. There's people that take advantage of Social Security. There's people that take advantage of food benefits. But you have to be willing to understand the greater good. And they don't. And they don't care. And they're rewarded for not caring. It doesn't make any fucking sense to me. They can look at these people who are homeless, not eating properly. Yes, a majority of them have mental issues and substance abuse issues, such as drugs. But there's a lot of good people out there that just need a fucking break. And rather than dump money into UBI, they would rather dump the money in AI because they don't give a shit. Like the 4 guys on the All In podcast. They're more concerned about wearing a $5,000 t-shirt or something else like that. They don't fucking care. And they're rewarded for not giving a shit. And I just had enough. I mean, I know young men that are trying to become fighters. And they're good at the regional level, but they're not an Usman. They're not a Nurmagomedov. It's shocking to a lot of good regional fighters when you take them up to like Jackson Winklejohn and they end up fighting a guy that's better than they are. They tend to, it's a very humbling experience, and it's usually a crushing defeat. It crushes their career because they intended on being a superstar in the UFC. Those guys, I know 3 of them. I see them. They living in their cars, doing Uber Eats, and working, washing dishes, or whatever they can do to get by. That's not right. There's enough fucking money on the planet where no one should have to go hungry, have a place to lay your head. But that's not how life works out. I think, whether I want to admit it or not, it's kill or be killed. I cannot tell you how upsetting it was to have that woman call me. And when I tried to tell her that I was getting my wife an ID card so she could go to the commissary, she kept interrupting me and telling me that it made my wife eligible for TRICARE, therefore she's not entitled to Champ VA. And then I told her about the legal precedent that said it's called the greater benefit for the veteran and his wife. She could care less, because it would take up most of her day to write up why I'm entitled to that benefit, or my wife is. And it would help me out. It's just easier to say no and make me go back and get in another 3 to 5 to 7 year line. They don't fucking care. Nobody seems to give a shit. And it sucks. And you know what? What's gonna happen when things start to break? How about all the plumbers say, you know what, fix your own fucking toilet? How about the mechanics? And they're standing on that hard fucking concrete under a lift, getting oil and other fluids and nasty shit in their eyes and face and hands. And how about they say, fix your own fucking car? Replace your own fucking transmission. Just go buy a new fucking car. Fuck off. How about the nurses? Male and female. What are you gonna do if they go like, fuck it, I'm not going to work anymore? This shit's not worth it. How about the dentist? How about the nursing assistants? How about the dental assistants? How about the police? How about the firefighters? That's why they get such good pensions. Because they have to put up with the fucking psychopaths like me running around here. But anyways, let you guys go. You got those. It's a cruel, cruel world we live in. And if you can find somebody that'll help you, God bless that person. Love you guys. Stay safe and healthy. I'm going up a hill, that's what I'm saying, signing off. Stay safe and healthy. Take care of each other if you can, and if you can't, take care of yourselves, because no one else gives a fuck. Like a fart in a G-string. From West Texas, El Paso. I'm out of here. Bye-bye.